I think it is indeed fortuitous that as we are here for the last public celebration of the Eucharist until further notice, as a precautionary measure, certainly a decision of our Archbishop to prevent the spread of this coronavirus so that here in the United States we are safe until they discover some kind of treatment or vaccine. I think it is felicitous that on this closing Mass here at the shrine, we hear these stories about mercy. The Father welcoming back his prodigal son, sometimes known as the prodigal father, who is just so generous in his mercy. And even to his older son, who doesn't get him either, the Father comes out and says, everything you have, everything I have belongs to you. How fortuitous that we talk about mercy when we said in the responsorial psalm, the Lord is kind and merciful. Because this is what we pray for as we gather for this final Eucharist. Yes, the church will be open tomorrow from 8 to noon for private prayer. The Blessed Sacrament will be exposed, and we will pray for a quick solution to this pandemic problem. But today, as we celebrate the final formal Mass, we say the Lord is kind and merciful, celebrating our God like a prodigal father, welcoming back all of us sinners. But mercy we speak of, mercy. And I think very carefully about that word when we're all crying out for mercy for the human race, for mercy for all those who have been already plagued with this virus and who are sick and dying, for those who are attending to them, to the people of Italy especially, where we find this terrible outbreak uncontrollable. Mercy. And when I think of mercy, I think that the mercy is the good news that in the midst of all this chaos, God has entered. God has entered our chaos in our lives, whatever it may be. Long before this pandemic occurred, God has entered the chaos as mercy, so that in the middle of the chaos, we're not alone. And yet many of us will be alone. They're telling us to stay home, not to go out. And so we will be isolated with social distance to protect each other. We will be alone in a sense, but the good news of God's mercy is that we're never alone. And so that in the midst of this chaos, knowing we're not alone, we can be set free from fear. And being set free from fear, we can be merciful as God is merciful. We can enter into the chaos of others by emails and text messages and phone calls that are still available to us as long as these networks continue to survive this pandemic. For me, we have no formal classes anymore at either school, either at CTU or at DePaul University. Everything will be online. We will never really see the students face to face. We'll perhaps see them by Skype or by Zoom, but we will never be able to feel their energy or to talk to them so they can hear us in a human fashion face to face. But virtually we will live for the next few days, maybe the next few weeks. Who knows how long we will gather without Mass. But mercy is the way we conclude these words of mercy, even from the prophet Jeremiah. Heed us, O Lord, and listen to what our adversaries say. Remember that we have stood before you, O God. Give us your mercy. We have listened to your every word. And isn't it wonderful that at this last formal Mass, till whomever, hopefully we'll have Holy Week, hopefully we'll celebrate Easter, who knows? But when we will celebrate again, it will be the same mercy that ends our time here. It'll be the same mercy that will gather us back in this church again for the celebration of the Eucharist. For God has entered our chaos, so that in the middle of this chaos we know we're not alone. And knowing we're not alone, we can be set free from fear. as we remember this Eucharist, and as the church will be open for prayer, and as we will pray without this celebration, but celebrating the presence of God in this Eucharist in mercy.